There's a silent threat affecting the peace and tranquility in our homes. Millions are affected, thousands hospitalized. Too many are lost. In Georgia, 1 in 4 women are impacted by domestic abuse each year. Domestic abuse is not an argument that escalates out of control. It's one partner in an intimate relationship asserting control over the other. It's about power and control.
I felt alone, I felt guilty, I felt ashamed, I felt it was my fault.
I was sad, I was lost. I felt like I was stuck.
Failure, devastation, hurt.
Last year, over 40,000 family violence incidents were reported to Georgia law enforcement officials. Abuse behavior can take many forms. There is no typical victim of domestic violence. It can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Domestic violence may be something not easily noticed by outsiders, and many victims never tell anyone. For victims of domestic abuse, asking for help may be the most difficult and scariest decision they will ever make. But often, it is the most positive, life-changing decision they will ever make. To protect their identity, some of the names in the following stories have been changed.
Hey, my name is Quandasha Martin. I'm here to tell my experience of being a part of the Safe House and how they have helped me and my 4 beautiful kids. It was a time that we didn't have anywhere to go and didn't know how me and my kids were going to survive. I cried and worried about how my life was going. And I was experiencing domestic violence with my kid's father.
And I know this may sound drastic, but in our situation, many times for the people that we work with and the people we serve, it is a difference between life and death. We've seen so many instances out in the community or in our nation where women and children have succumbed to the effects of domestic violence, unfortunately and tragically.
I was calling around to shelters to find somewhere to go. I was at rock bottom, and every shelter I was calling was giving me the runaround. So I was stressed out, crying, wondering how I was going to make it with my kids.
You know, one of the unique things about the Salvation Army here in Warner Robins is the mission of combating domestic violence. We are the only shelter in this area, south of Macon, that has a program like that. Many of the women and families that come to us with only the clothing on their backs.
It's like, I don't got nowhere to go, I got kids, I got all my stuff in the trunk. And my best friend was like, you should go to a shelter. And I was like, I don't know, I'm scared.
In the situation of domestic violence or any challenges within the home, whether it's food insecurity or not being able to pay the rent, the most vulnerable person in that situation is the child.
So when I ended up leaving, I had no job, I had no income. You know, I didn't have anything to my name, really.
I never thought that I would be one of those people that needed help. And just growing up the way I did and living how I lived and everything, I never thought I would be in this situation.
I got kids, I ain't got no home, I ain't got nothing. Like, no, I want this, I need something, I ain't got no guidance, I don't have any people around me supporting me. My family's gone.
So the Safe House is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week domestic violence program for women and men to come where they have nowhere else to go. The people who come here are wanting a life free of abuse.
The Salvation Army is a really special nonprofit. I'm familiar with other nonprofits. You know, I've volunteered at many, but the Salvation Army really does do the most good. Our funding goes directly into the community. The work that we do is so non-judgmental. Working in a field like this, we literally open our arms to anyone who needs our help. And that's really special to me. It's the ability to touch the lives of so many people in the areas that is so desperately needed.
It's not just physical, it's spiritual. And I think you see that in the results of those that come through our program. They feel loved, they feel cared for, and it makes a difference in the continuation of their transition back into health and wholeness outside of domestic violence.
I finally looked up the shelter in Warner Robins, Georgia. I finally got answered, and they was like, "When can you come? Are you available to come today?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am." So we packed all our things and took off. When we got there, they treated us and welcomed us as one of their own. They made us feel comfortable, so I knew we were safe with them.
I wanted to really people to know that this is something I truly enjoy doing, is seeing people be successful and happy and out there establishing their lives and being successful. It's a way of life.
So it made it easier just knowing that I had the support in the legal aspect of it, the social aspect of it, the emotional, just everything was better after I made my contact with the Salvation Army.
I feel like I always got a support behind me if I fall, if I need anything. I don't try to call them as much as I sometimes want to. I pray first, but I always feel like I got somebody, a backbone or somebody rooting for me or something, you know, support. I love them like family.
Because they never asked me for anything. They didn't ask me I would have done anything that they asked me to do. They never asked me to volunteer. They've never asked me to get out of my own comfort zone. You know, they didn't really ask nothing of me, but they were there for me.
The Salvation Army people are still here for us if we need them. I am so thankful to live a better life with my kids and to say I don't have to experience domestic violence anymore. I have matured myself and learned to love myself and to take care of my kids. I also learned to know my worth and never fall short for anybody. I really appreciate all the good support system from the Salvation Army.
The fact that we're able to really be, at ground zero with these individuals who come to us in desperate need, and watch them and help them and assist them and guide them into living independently and free from abuse, and help them grow spiritually and individually and psychologically in every way that we can, and really become independent, living on their own outside of here. So just watching that whole process is really amazing. And watching people attain things that they didn't even think that they could. Really watching people grow into, the best individuals that they can be. That's the most rewarding part.
While you were watching this video, over 100 women in the U.S. were a victim of domestic abuse. At the Salvation Army Safe House, our vital work continues, and there is so much work to do. Please help us help those impacted by domestic violence. To give, just visit salvationarmywarnerrobins.org. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, please call the Salvation Army Safe House at 478-923-6294.